It's time now for County-Wide, a presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. You'll hear about the interesting issues and happenings that affect all our lives. Here's today's County-Wide.
Well, good day and welcome to the program. It is County-Wide. I'm Brad Miller, and I'm very happy to welcome into studio Susanna Ventura. Susanna is a teacher at Mingus Union High School in Cottonwood, AP World History teacher. Did I get that right?
Yes.
You do a lot of things.
I do.
That's just the start, so that's how I'm introducing you.
Perfect.
One of the things and the reason really that I got excited to call you and have you come in, I'm so pleased that you were able to put that into your schedule. You recently had a Civics Day fair. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
The event, okay,
Yes.
at Mingus for the students.
Yes.
And when I saw that word Civics Day, I thought, oh boy, we hear about that. We hear it from politicians, big and small. We hear it all over the place. Civics needs to be taught in school again. And I thought,
Yes.
well, here it is. Now, this was the first time you've done this particular kind of program?
That's right.
Okay.
So about 5 years ago, we did start hosting a Civics Day annually at our school.
Okay.
However, the old format felt less interactive, and we were able to incorporate less student engagement in that process with just an open house, kind of open forum. So we integrated this idea of a fair this year, and we were able to ask all of our social studies students to attend. So we had over 400 students walk
Excellent.
through this Civics Day fair.
This was an elective thing that they could just attend or
no,
not? Or
we ran it through our social studies classes.
I see.
So everybody
All right.
in a social studies class came, and then other teachers were also welcome to bring their students through.
Gotcha.
And then there was a point in the day, we have a flex period during our day where students could self-select to come. And
Okay.
there were a few that did choose that.
Okay. When we talk civics, let's give me just a bare bones definition of what that means, what it implies, and what kind of was driving this event.
Okay, perfect. Civics, to me, is the secular portion of our society where we reach out and we attempt to order things and structure things and support things that matter to our community and to keep us cohesive and together as a group of people moving towards our common goals. So civics, in terms of educating students, is all about getting them informed, first of all, on how our system works, how it applies to them directly, how they can be involved, what that means for them as media consumers, and how important it is to be aware of what's going on around you, how important it is to be really literate in media talk
Right.
and in how to consume that. And
To
then
me,
also
that
yeah.
could be a whole program just in and of itself.
Agreed. And there's a lot of educational things out there around
Yeah.
digital and media
Right.
literacy right now.
Right.
But really what we were able to do is just kind of dip our toe, right?
Yeah.
And just
Yeah.
kind of open the door for students. And then also another component of that is being of service to your community,
Right.
and being engaged with things beyond just I vote
Right.
or just I read the paper, but how to actually activate your own agency into the community and make a difference.
It sounds like as you're telling me this, it seems like if we could take all of that and put it into one sentence, we might go to JFK's inaugural and the whatnot, and what can you do for your country?
Exactly.
It sounds like that's very much what it's about. Now, when we say learning our process and our system, are we talking about our political process, our civic social process, all of the above?
We're talking all of the above.
Okay.
So when we set up this fair, we borrowed a toolkit that we found online of how to put on a Civics Day fair. And it has 4 pillars that we organized our day around.
Okay.
So the first pillar is getting political. And so that to me means we were lucky enough to have a couple of guests. We had the city of Cottonwood come. We had a large showing from the town of Clarkdale. The Clarkdale mayor came. And they were able to talk about who your representatives are, what parts of our society are our government functions, everything from the post office, to getting your driver's license, to all those different parts, and really try to make it relevant to students that this is probably the part of government that affects you the most, is your local stuff.
Your town's mayor and your county supervisor
Yeah.
probably have more to do with your day-to-day than the president of the United States.
Exactly. And we had Supervisor Check come for an hour, and that was
Excellent.
wonderful. So we did have a lot of exciting guests, and
That's
I was
great.
really grateful for that. The second pillar is paying attention, and we were lucky to have some media there to talk about what that means to pay attention to what's going on, how to pull together different sources, how to be like I said, like a literate media consumer, how to discern information on your own and seek out your own information. And then how to engage with that by writing letters to the editor, maybe, or, knowing just even the difference between news and opinion
Right.
for our students, because the way they consume news is so different than the way you and
Right.
I did growing up, that it's a barrage, and they have to know how to wade through that.
Often
for sure.
they're going to hear, and this isn't just young people. This is a lot of people who kind of don't. I loved, what did you say? Literate media consumption. Media consumption. I think that's just, I think we can all take a chapter out of that page, out of that notebook. And understanding, because a lot of times when you rely on TikTok and whatever, you're going to get opinion many times before you even get facts, especially
Yes.
if there's a breaking story or something happening.
Exactly. I mean, think about, we can access events in real time without any sort of filter.
Right.
And that's great.
Right.
There's so many good things about that, honestly. But at the same time, when we have a more institutionalized media that does have professionals who can sort out fact from opinion and can package news in a way that provides nuance, provides perspective. That is, to me, an absolutely, I hope it's not going out completely with
Right.
the rise of social media, but I think kids have to be willing to take in multiple forms of media and multiple sources.
I've thought for some time that the most kind of bloodied and trampled casualty of social media is context.
Yes.
A lot of times, well, so-and-so said this without any context, that maybe it can be as simple as, well, what they said ahead of time diffuses or deflates what they said in the second piece that you did here. Or other times it's often situational where there's a bigger picture to be considered. And if you don't see that, you can almost make A, B, C look like X, Y, Z. And to me, it seems like I want to say younger people are more susceptible to that, but I'm not so sure anymore, because I think through programs like what you did and educational resources that are available to them now, they're starting to learn better to sort the wheat from the chaff a little. Do you think that's true?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a history teacher, and I always joke that our department motto is that we're addicted to context. Like, everything is context. So I absolutely think that's so important. And it's so easy to do. And as humans, we're overwhelmed. Our brains aren't meant to handle this amount of information on a daily basis. So to run your life, to go to work, to be a part of your family, to be there for your children, and then to also have to be this like sophisticated consumer of media who can tell what's the context. I need to do 15 Google searches just to really get a true story on what the whole picture is of this.
Right.
It's exhausting.
Right.
So I completely understand why people are going for that low-hanging fruit of, well, this sounds right to me, or this feels true.
Yeah.
But a lot of times that's not what we need in a society. We need people who are informed, and it does take time and effort.
Well, school at the high school level, typically, if we here again boil it all down,
Oh yeah.
is really about teaching young people how to learn.
Yes.
And whether it's social media, whether it's civics, whether it's the modern political atmosphere, we need to teach them how to decide for themselves
Yes.
based on context, accuracy, best information, all of those kinds of things.
Exactly. And so navigating that for a student, that's really what I'm trying to provide, like the roadmap, because they're going to be voters of candidates that I've never even heard of yet, right? So I can't, and it's never my job to tell them how to think about an issue, but only how to get what you need to make the decision you can live with, right? Look at yourself in the mirror tomorrow and know you voted your conscience. And so providing that political roadmap of it starts with voting. It doesn't end with voting, right? Like it starts with, I have to vote, so I'm going to pull in information. Then I can work on campaigns, or I can donate money, or I can write an editorial. And that activism, is something that young people tend to want to participate in. They tend to be very passionate about the things that they do know about. And so channeling that and having an avenue for civil discourse and having an open mind to the fact that just because you think something doesn't mean that's the only way anybody's ever thought about it, or that you're the first person to have this idea. Right. Really is, that fits in so well with their adolescent minds, with what they're already wanting to do and what they're already thinking. If we can channel that, and if we can put the guardrails in place, then they know how to use that. Excellent. And that's the hope for the next generation, honestly.
Excellent. Okay, great stuff. I want to get a little bit more of how the youngsters handled this and responded, and some of the questions maybe that they had.
Okay, perfect.
Good stuff. I love this. Susanna Ventura is a teacher at Mingus Union High School. Recently, with the students, faculty, and a lot of folks from the community, they had a Civics Day fair. We'll talk more about it on Countywide when we come back.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley. And your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Thank you so very much for your generosity and kindness in helping others. I hope that you take advantage of the many Arizona state tax credits available when giving to qualified charities and schools. If you haven't taken advantage, I hope you'll ask your favorite charity if they qualify. You can go to Arizona Department of Revenue website, search for tax credits, and look at the list of qualifying charities. Then look at your latest Arizona income tax return and see how an Arizona tax credit can benefit many. This is Lewis saying thanks again.
As the days get shorter and the nights cooler, make sure your future is wrapped in the right protection. Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent, is ready to help you simplify and protect what matters most: your home, your car, your life, and your future. Jonna offers competitive pricing with a relationship-first approach that puts you at the center of every decision. Call Jonna Randall Murdoch today at 928-649-8686, located on Villa Drive in Cottonwood. Farm Bureau Financial Services. It's your future. Let's protect it.
Welcome back to the program, Countywide. Brad Miller with you, and our guest today, Susanna Ventura, Mingus Union High School. And I just want to say thank you for doing that.
Absolutely.
A noble vocation. I have some teachers in my family. I'm very proud of them. World history teacher at Mingus, and most recently, perhaps most instrumental in putting together a Civics Day fair. So as we did in our first, I wanted to ask just how did the students respond? Did this open some eyes? Did you get some interesting questions or new directions?
Absolutely. Well, my favorite story is that the first two kids through the door said to each other, let's go register to vote. So right away, kids knew what it was, what they were there to do, and how to engage their own interest into action. So that was wonderful.
Were they a little...
Seniors.
It's just two... Were they a little apathetic before that?
Now that I don't know.
Or
I don't have those
right.
students in class, but
Right. Okay.
they were the first two through the door.
Yeah.
So I was happy about that.
Right.
Set
Great.
off the tone.
Great.
There was a lot of engagement with each of the booths. League of Women Voters had a great display, and they got a lot of kids talking about generationally what their impact could have, and that opened a lot of eyes for students, I think, to think, oh yeah, like we are the next group to come into power, and if we can harness that, we can really see the change that we want to see. We also had a whole section around community service. And so students were very engaged with the different clubs that are on our campus. And then also Northern Arizona Hospice was there looking for volunteers, and students were very interested in that. And they asked great questions. They were really interested in what parts of the community could they really impact? Where could they really serve on a school board, for instance?
Right.
They can run for school board when they're 18 years old, as long as they're a registered voter. So there were some parts that I think it opened their eyes to the fact that local government, like we talked about,
Right.
is really what makes the biggest impact on your day-to-day life. And that's where you can also throw your weight around and influence the most. So that was interesting to me to that they think in the pie in the sky kind of high level federal stuff, because that's what's in the media.
I think that's what their parents do. My parents did. We did.
And
I think it's natural to do that
for sure.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, just getting a sense of what's around here. This actually matters. The mayor is here. I can talk to her right now.
Right.
About something that matters to me. I thought that was very eye-opening to them. They did ask some questions. They were interesting. There were interesting questions about the local news, because I think that they are not consumers of local news. So
Right.
Kyle Larson was there from Red Rock News, and there were a couple of reporters there from the Verde Independent, and they were like, why don't you cover more national stuff? Or, why don't I see anything about our president in your paper? And it's like, well, this is what is important. And so really guiding them through
Right.
even what our local media, what that role is in their life,
Right.
was interesting to me that they didn't really know.
That's interesting. It's very telling because I read, the local papers in across Yavapai County, and sometimes I think, what's that doing in there? That's a national story. Sometimes national stories will have local implications. Those I get and I understand. Other times I think there's a little clickbait, and everybody can be accused. And I don't want to get into a finger pointing show.
Sure.
But it's interesting that kind of comes back. One of the things you said in there that I thought was most interesting was that idea of volunteerism. Because I've thought for a long time that volunteerism can be a societal silver bullet. You learn to be with people very commonly that are not like you, who need things that you may never, ever have needed or even occurred to you that you might need. And you learn empathy.
Yes.
You don't have to feel bad for somebody else, but understanding their perspective seems to me that that's a beating pulse behind civics writ large.
100%. I think that's the soul of a society.
That's what I think too.
It all comes down to empathy. It all comes down to, personally speaking, I try not to vote just for me. I try to vote for my neighbors, for what's good for everybody.
Right.
Even if it's not always like, well, this may actually have a slight financial impact on what I do, or there might be something that affects me. Looking at the greater good only comes if we build empathy. And volunteering there's so many cliches about it. You get more out of it than they do and that kind of thing. But on the flip side, a society that doesn't volunteer, I think, is doomed. We have to give of each other. We have to give for each other.
Right.
We have to care.
And that's really a central message behind civics. I want to ask, we need to take another little break, so when we come back, we'll kind of finish up where this will go. I'm thinking there'll be a second one.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm curious if there'll be even additional command, maybe in the classroom setting.
Awesome.
We'll take a short break. Our guest, Susanna Ventura, Mingus Union High School. It's countywide, and we're back right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology, factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solar offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolar.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Thank you so very much for your generosity and kindness in helping others. I hope that you take advantage of the many Arizona state tax credits available when giving to qualified charities and schools. If you haven't taken advantage, I hope you'll ask your favorite charity if they qualify. You can go to Arizona Department of Revenue website, search for tax credits, and look at the list of qualifying charities. Then look at your latest Arizona income tax return and see how an Arizona tax credit can benefit many. This is Lewis saying thanks again.
As the days get shorter and the nights cooler, make sure your future is wrapped in the right protection. Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent, is ready to help you simplify and protect what matters most: your home, your car, your life, and your future. Jonna offers competitive pricing with a relationship-first approach that puts you at the center of every decision. Call Jonna Randall Murdoch today at 928-649-8686, located on Villa Drive in Cottonwood. Farm Bureau Financial Services. It's your future. Let's protect it.
We welcome you back to County-Wide. Again, Susanna Ventura, Mingus Union High School, AP World History teacher there, and any number of titles and hats. And the Civics Day Fair that was recently held at Mingus. Sounds like it was a resounding, you said 400 some students were part of it. And
yes,
a lot of different community organizations, elected officials, and so on. So that's great that the community responded well.
I agree.
As well.
Yeah.
Where do we go from now? I'm assuming there'll be a second one. Mm-hmm. Will there be any additional classroom offerings? I know that's a school board and a whole different thing. Mm-hmm. But did you feel that this was successful enough from the students' purview that this is very well worth doing, and who knows what else could develop from it?
Absolutely. There are a lot of different pieces that are already in place, but that I think the Civics Day Fair can better highlight and maybe bring together some of these various pieces. So first, I don't know if everybody knows this, but students at Mingus and around the state do take a semester of civics, their government class.
Yeah.
That's required for graduation. They also are required to pass a civics exam
and this
for graduation.
That's not new.
That's not new.
Yeah.
But it is basically the citizenship test that they have to pass. And then we also recently, the state has implemented these diploma seals that you can, if you have received special training or you have special skills throughout high school, you can get this seal put on your diploma. And it just kind of indicates if you're going straight into the career field, for example, like, hey, I do have this job skill or this other thing.
Okay, that's cool.
And so civics is one of them. And so, it's actually one of the harder ones to get. You do have to do a lot of community service to achieve this seal. Okay. But that's our goal, is to work towards this in the next, if we're not rolling it out this year, soon. Okay. That we're going to have that added. We've only implemented 2 so far at Mingus, the bilingual biliteracy one and the arts.
Okay.
And so that's another piece that we're really excited about. The civics students, the government students, were very involved in the Civics Day Fair. They did provide a lot of flyers and work that they were putting on display for the younger students. And then also our student council, which I think is a great our student government really helped me a ton. Shout out to Stuco. They hung up the posters. They were there all day volunteering.
So they really got behind it.
They really did.
That's terrific. Well, that's great. Well, I can't wait to see where it goes from here.
Yeah.
And so happy that the school is jumping on into this even further than they have already been doing. So we'll anticipate next year's.
Absolutely. Put it on your calendar, right, students? September 25th.
Do you have a date next year already?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, let's get going. Sounds great. Susanna, thank you again for what you do. And Susanna Ventura, our guest, Mingus Union High School. I'm Brad Miller. It's County-Wide. We'll see you next time.
This has been County-Wide. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday at this time. If you have a topic or guest idea that you'd like to suggest, email us, news@myradioplace.com.